Hi, everybody. It's Brian McCarthy, your realtor here, coming at you with a brand new series of market check-ins. My goal here is to post something at least every week towards the end of the week with any local real estate market updates for the previous week. My plan also is to have these first or second week of the month check-ins be a little bit longer because that's when the previous month's full of stats get posted. So I can kind of go through a little bit more of a broader overview of what's happened in the past month as opposed to just the week. So this one kicking off will be a little bit longer. If you want to get to just our local market, like Hudson County stats, you can skip forward a few minutes as I present. Those will be like the black and white slides. But today and for like probably the second week of the month posts that I'm going to do, or the videos here, are going to be a little bit longer. We're going to talk about nationwide stats as well as just like overall Jersey stats. So without further ado, let me kick this off here. I'm going to share my screen, share the whole desktop here so I can go over some stats with everybody. All right, so this is looking at United States as a whole here. So you've probably seen or heard some news if you're keeping your finger on the pulse of the real estate market. Just nationwide, there's been a drop in pending sales. That is recent here. Just this red arrow kind of shows you the past 2.5 months or so. But we need to take this into context here. If you look, historically healthy level, we've been above that since 2014 for a very long time. This valley right here is kind of the lockdown period. As you saw, we came roaring back with a bunch of pent-up demand, people needing to move last year between the spring and summer months. Takes kind of a seasonal dive here. Right here is kind of normal. And then we had a peak right around May, June of this year, and now it's kind of settling back down. So yes, there is a drop in pending sales right now. Nothing to freak out about. It's kind of a seasonally adjusted thing here and not necessarily a bad thing. And we gotta take it into context. And I'm kind of paraphrasing Odetta Kushi, deputy chief economist for First American, when she says, yes, we are seeing some signs of softening in the housing market, but let's talk about context and take it. But context is important here. We're still very much in a seller's market, and we're just seeing some early signs of softening. That is, correct. That is what I'm seeing too. So we are coming off a very hot seller's market. Looking back here, almost 2 years. This is showing time. This is a app that we use nationwide for realtors that are looking to schedule showings. It's a third party. They basically got bought by Zillow, but they are all over the country, and they have really good stats on the number of showings that are happening. So as you can see, from April, May, June, July, there's been a pretty big drop. But if you look at this time period in July 2 years ago, that number, that index there was 123. Now we're at like 190. That's basically 1,000 showings per day. So yeah, we are seeing a little bit of a drop off, but looking at it, we're still in a pretty healthy market here. Going to take another quote from a technology firm that I thought was pretty cool. So the U.S. housing market continues to be ultra competitive even as the new COVID cases surge. The new data shows the level of competition and ensuing price increases may be cooling off slightly. Data shows that almost 50% of homes sold for more than the initial list price in July. So just a couple months ago, far ahead of the number reported in July a year ago, 2020, when that number was 26.8 of homes were sold above the initial asking price, just below June's total of 50.4. So if you're visual like me, that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. Here's a graphic for you to show that. So yeah, last year, a quarter of the homes nationwide sold for over asking price. In June this year was at 50. We're seeing those pending sales drop off, a little bit of drop off of activity. But if you look at it compared to last year, it's still extremely healthy, down maybe 1%. Let's kind of shift over to new monthly listing counts. Again, this is nationwide. The next slide has 2021, but if you look at 2017, 18, and 19, the number of new listings that are coming out per month, always a little bit slower in the beginning of the year. They peak in spring, April, May, June, taper off slightly throughout the rest of summer and fall, and then decrease. 2020, anomaly, you know, with COVID and the pandemic and the lockdown. Obviously, we had a huge shutdown around April, May. Things came back a little bit, but we're still about 100,000 100,000 less, you know, per month homes listed. And then if we add in so far 2021, we've come up, we were kind of following that curve of 2017, 18, and 19, but nowhere near the levels that we were then. So this indicates, you know, kind of a continued housing supply or lack of housing supply, which has traditionally and always driven up demand and prices. You know, low supply, high demand, prices are going to be high. That's what we've seen since coming out of the lockdown and the pandemic. High prices, low inventory. So here again, right now where we are, maybe 50,000 homes per month off compared to 100 last year, but nowhere near where we were the previous 3 years. One more quote, chief economist at realtor.com. If these changing inventory dynamics continue, we could see a wave of real estate activity heading into the later part of this year. So, you know, Hudson County and where I work in North Jersey, we've always seen, or since I've been working the past 8 years, fall and even winter is still, it's not dead by any means. There's still a decent amount of activity. Nationwide, I feel like that might not be the same as like this metropolitan area. You know, people kind of hunker down and less serious buyers and sellers bunker up for a little while. But if we continue to see low supply and sellers not bringing their homes to market, you know, this softening isn't really going to continue to be soft. Low supply is always going to mean higher push pressure on prices. All right, so we're going to shift here into our local market stats. This is a wrap up of August 2021 compared to August a year ago, 2020. And if I go through this too fast, because I don't want to spend too much time, I apologize. This kind of stuff is available to you online. If you don't get my emails, I emailed a link out to this just the other day. You can look at any city or county in New Jersey with these stats that we put out every single month. So if you want something that I'm not going over here, or you want to subscribe to this and get it regularly, I'd be happy to add you. Just call, email, text, DM me and let me know you want to be on the list, or if you want a specific area, let me know. But let's just kind of shoot through here. So looking at the Hoboken market, increase 22% in sales compared to last year in August. That's pretty awesome. Increase in days on market. So homes are staying on a little bit longer. This year, 33 days compared to 30 last year. Increase in average home price, almost up 6%, and almost 11% increase in median sales price. So right here, average sales price up to almost $860 from about $810 last year. That is overall. This is the breakdown of houses to condos. Feel free to pause if you want to take a closer look at this. I'm going to keep rolling into Jersey City. So this is Jersey City as a whole, not broken down into the neighborhoods. So August, or last month, 160 almost total properties went under contract, 181 properties sold. The average price in Jersey City, almost 600,000. And the ones that are under contract are even higher than the ones that actually closed at 634,000. So this is an increase here in under contract, up 20%. In volume, the average sales price is up 8% from last year. Median sales prices pretty much hold steady. Units sold up 40% from last year. That's promising. Slight decrease in average sales price and significant decrease in the median sales price. So looking at overall, and then houses divided into co-ops, average days on market is down a bit here. Really down for houses as people are, the big value adds right now that I see that people are looking for, especially post-COVID, is outdoor space. So obviously, if you have a house, you're almost guaranteed to have at least a little bit of that. So there's been a huge demand for properties with any sort of outdoor space lately. This is a graph looking at months of inventory the last 12 months compared to the previous 12 months. So we're at a little bit higher here until August or around July, where we separated a little bit and dipped below last year's averages. Contracts by price range and listings by price range, bread and butter here. Again, this is all of Jersey City, not just downtown. So there is a significant amount available under 500,000. Let's check out downtown Jersey City. So a huge 25% increase in sales overall volume compared to this time last year. Increase in sales price, decrease in days on market, an increase in median sales price. So as the inventory went down, sales prices go up. Days on market goes down. Obviously, demand and prices get pressure when the inventory is low, right? Just like we were talking about. Let's check out Journal Square really quick. Wow, 180% increase in sales volume compared to 2020. Pretty significant decrease in average sales price. I don't think that's going to last. Jersey City has been pretty up and coming for quite a while now, and there's a lot of developers and big time development. Think the Journal Squared has 2 buildings up. They're doing a third, and just if you just drive around, or you live there, you walk through it. There's just a lot of people putting money into it. So I think this is kind of a temporary decrease here, as maybe some people are looking for added value. Maybe they're thinking, average sales price in Journal Square right here being about 400,000 to 500,000 last year. Take that money somewhere you're ready to go to the burbs, but you don't have to commute to Manhattan anymore, which is obviously Journal Square is a great place to commute from if you're close to the path. Might be using that money elsewhere. Maybe you get a house out in the suburbs with some yard space like we were talking about. The Heights has, over the past almost 10 years now, had some pretty steady appreciation. It is still very close to Hoboken. There's a lot of people that are coming from Brooklyn and Manhattan and the boroughs that find a lot of value in the Heights. It's pretty familiar to a lot of the places in, let's say, like Brooklyn. You can get a cute house with a yard, or there's loft space there. It's comparable, and so people are finding value there. Still continue to find value. Average sales price is up almost 10%, 8.5% here to 620 overall. Houses came down a little bit. There aren't a lot of houses like, real housing stock up there anymore that isn't just being knocked down for new development. But condos and co-ops, a lot of these are new still. New construction in the Heights is pretty big, up 10% average sales price August to August. Affordability is a huge topic here right now. I don't want to get into it this week. Maybe this is something I can talk about next week. I just wanted to kind of keep this to our local market. One more thing that I have here that's kind of a cool tool, and you all have access to it as well. You just let me know and I can give this to you. So I do these market watches, and I set them to just the past week. That's the access, or the topics I'm going to give you guys, in these weeks to come. But we're just looking at 7-day averages here across Jersey City. 43 new listings, 44 active, 8 price reductions. Let's check out Hoboken in the past week. 17 units sold, 7 under contract, 38 new listings, 42 active. These are just condos. 4 came back on the market after being off market for a little while. No price increases. Sometimes we see those. I definitely saw them in May and June when multiple offers were huge and happening all the time. Right now, things are still selling pretty quickly, as we saw. I think 33-day average compared to 30. So things that are priced well are selling quickly. It's just not the frenzy that we had a couple months ago where everything was getting multiple offers. I still do see it every once in a while, but just not as often. So a couple of price reductions over the past week, 5, and under contract. I'm just going to combine active under contract to under contract, which basically means there's an offer accepted for a combined total of 12 here and 17 properties sold. So hope you guys found that informative. Where am I? Let's find me here. I guess I got to stop sharing. Hi, there I am again. So this is going to be a weekly series. I hope you find it informative. As I said before in the middle, if you want stats, you want access to this kind of stuff, I email it to my database and everyone that's out there on at least a monthly basis when Compass does all of the monthly wrap-ups. But if you want it coming at you weekly as well, I'm happy to do that. Or if we're missing any towns, just let me know. I'm here to be of service to you and a resource. Just call, text, DM me. My number is 617-851-9141, or you can reach me at BM, my initials, Brian McCarthy, BM@storyresidential.com. And thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.